Well, here's my word. Get the hell off my spread. For decades, a Newport Beach mansion held John Wayne's darkest secrets. When he died in 1979, his house was immediately sealed. Every photo, letter, and personal item locked away for over 30 years. Then, in 2011, they finally opened the doors. And what they discovered inside left everyone stunned. From record-breaking movie props to a shocking will that tore his family apart, this is the story of what really happened to the Duke's fortune. John Wayne was born Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa. At birth, he weighed 13 pounds, so unusual that the local newspaper mentioned it. From day one, he was destined to be larger than life. At just 3 years old, he almost died after falling into an icy creek. A stranger saved him, and that moment showed the relentless resilience that would define him. His name changed early. When his parents had another son, they named him Robert, so Marion's middle name switched to Mitchell. A small change, but a sign of the reinventions to come. In 1914, his family moved to Glendale, California, after his father's business failed. There, young Marion earned the nickname Duke, thanks to his Airedale Terrier, also named Duke. The two were inseparable, and firefighters dubbed them Big Duke and Little Duke. The name stuck. Duke loved football. In 1925, he landed a scholarship to USC, studying pre-law and joining Sigma Chi. But fate intervened. A body surfing accident dislocated his shoulder, ending his football dreams. Devastated, he thought his life was over. But this accident pushed him toward Hollywood. In 1927, he took a 35-a-week job at Fox Studios as a prop man. His first on-screen role, an uncredited football player in Brown of Harvard, 1926. Behind the scenes, he befriended director John Ford, who saw potential in him. Ford urged him to change his name. Marion Morrison didn't scream tough guy. After considering options like Anthony Wayne, they landed on John Wayne, a name that would become legendary. His early career was brutal, 80-plus low-budget westerns between 1930 and 1939, some shot in just 2 days. He survived on 1 meal a day, often a can of beans heated on a hot plate. By 1938, he was ready to quit. Until 1939's Stagecoach changed everything. The studio wanted Gary Cooper, but Ford threatened to quit unless they cast Wayne. His debut as the Ringo Kid became iconic, the camera zooming in as he spun a rifle. That 7-second shot took 27 takes. Wayne was so nervous. Stagecoach earned 7 Oscar nominations, but Wayne was paid just $3,700, a fraction of A-listers' salaries. Yet, overnight, he became the face of the American West. He turned down the Maltese Falcon in High Noon to protect his image, a decision that cemented him as the symbol of rugged masculinity. John Ford and Wayne's partnership spanned 50 years and 14 films. It began with 1928's Mother Macri, but Stagecoach 1939 made Wayne a star. Ford was notoriously harsh. During The Searchers, 1956, he made Wayne redo a gun pickup 17 times to humiliate him. Wayne never complained, believing Ford's cruelty sharpened his performances. Ironically, The Searchers was snubbed at the Oscars, but is now hailed as one of the greatest films ever. Their final collaboration, Donovan's Reef, 1963, almost didn't happen. Wayne felt too old. Ford was battling alcoholism. They filmed in 100-degree Hawaiian heat, with Ford directing from a stretcher due to shingles. Yet, the comedy proved their versatility. Wayne's first Oscar nomination came for Sands of Iwo Jima, 1949. He played Sergeant John Stryker, a hardened Marine. Initially, Wayne refused the role, too similar to past characters. Republic Pictures president Herbert Yates personally convinced him with $250,000 and profit shares. The film used real flamethrowers and explosives, leading to injuries. One blast knocked Wayne unconscious for 30 minutes. The movie blended real Iwo Jima footage with stage scenes so seamlessly, audiences believed it was all authentic. 3 surviving flag-raising Marines even appeared in the film. Despite its success, Wayne lost the Oscar to Broderick Crawford. Ironic, since he'd turned down Crawford's winning role in All the King's Men, calling it un-American. His passion project, The Alamo, 1960, nearly bankrupted him. He mortgaged his home, cars, and yacht to fund its $12 million budget. The set took 2 years to build, a full-scale replica using 1.5 million Adobe bricks. Filming involved $7,000, extras, 1,500 horses, and 79 days in 110 of heat. One extra needed 26 stitches after a bayonet accident. Despite 7 Oscar nods, including Best Picture, critics were divided. Wayne wasn't nominated for Best Director, a crushing blow. Yet the film redefined how America remembered the Alamo. In 1970, Wayne finally won an Oscar for True Grit. He almost rejected Rooster Cogburn, too old, still recovering from lung cancer. Filming in Colorado's thin air forced him to use an oxygen tank between takes. His horse once stumbled on a steep hill, tearing Wayne's shoulder muscle. He kept shooting. At the Oscars, he joked, "If I'd known this, I'd have put that patch on 35 years earlier." Some called it a career Oscar, but Wayne didn't care. It validated his legacy. His love life was as turbulent as his films. First wife Josephine, married 1933, endured his affair with Marlene Dietrich, who boosted his career by securing him roles. In 1945, they divorced. His second marriage to Esperanza Bauer turned violent. She once fired a gun at him, accusing him of cheating with co-star Gail Russell. They split in 1954. Third wife Pilar Paulette lasted until his death, but they separated in 1973. Wayne moved in with secretary Pat Stacey, 34 years his junior. She cared for him during his cancer battle and later wrote Duke, a love story revealing his vulnerable side. In 1964, doctors removed Wayne's left lung and 2 ribs to stop cancer. He smoked 6 packs daily for years, but publicly called cancer the Big C to destigmatize it. In 1965, he filmed an American Cancer Society ad urging early detection. Cancer returned in 1979, stomach this time. From his hospital bed, he recorded, "Pleas for research funding. They might find a cure without your help, but I wouldn't bet my life on it." His final film, The Shootist, 1976, mirrored his reality, a dying gunslinger. Needing oxygen between scenes, he insisted on doing his own stunts, even falling repeatedly onto hard floors. He changed the ending, refusing to let his character be shot in the back. "I've never shot a man in the back in any movie." Wayne died on June 11, 1979, at 72. His Newport Beach home was sealed that day. His will shocked everyone. Nothing to Pilar. Everything split among 7 children. In 2010, daughter Isa sued brother Ethan over control of John Wayne Enterprises. The 2011 auction of his estate unveiled treasures locked away since 1979. Over 700 items sold, including his Green Beret hat, $179,200, a record for a costume hat, the True Grit Golden Globe, $143,400, scripts with folded pages marking completed scenes, his last driver's license, $89,500. Even his seashell collection revealed a softer side few knew, but Wayne's legacy faces modern scrutiny. A 1971 Playboy interview resurfaced in 2019, where he defended white supremacy and mocked Native Americans. Protests demanded renaming John Wayne Airport and removing his USC exhibit. His son Ethan defended him. He wasn't racist. Yet, the debate continues. Subscribe now, because what happened next with his family will shock you even more. Hit subscribe. You won't believe which of his children ended up with his most prized possession. At his death, Wayne's net worth was $685 million, $25 million today, surprisingly modest for Hollywood's top earner. He'd sold his beloved yacht, Wild Goose, for $750,000 before dying. His Newport home sold for $5.5 million in 1980. The John Wayne Cancer Foundation, founded in 1985, pioneered early detection methods. His name still symbolizes courage, but also controversy. Can we separate the man from the myth? The answer lies in the secrets still buried in those locked-away letters. Before moving to Newport Beach, Wayne owned a 5-acre ranch in Encino. At age 58, he left the ranch for the quieter life by the water. He also owned properties in Arizona and Washington, showing his love for different landscapes and his good sense for real estate. Once, Wayne joked that moving to Newport Beach years earlier had been smart, because by then, I sure as hell couldn't afford it. When Wayne's will was revealed after his death in 1979, it caused a lot of drama. The biggest shock was that he left nothing to his third wife, Pilar Paulette. They had been married for over 20 years, but had separated in 1973. 6 years before his death. Even though they didn't divorce, Wayne left most of his estate to his 7 children from his first 2 marriages. This decision led to speculation about their relationship and why Pilar wasn't included. Years later, the drama continued. CNN News 2010, Wayne's daughter Asa sued her brother Ethan and John Wayne Enterprises, arguing over her share in the company. The will also gave Wayne's children personal items and memorabilia, but these became points of tension too. Disagreements over these keepsakes made the family disputes even worse, showing how dividing his assets created lasting problems. In 2011, something amazing happened for John Wayne fans. Over 700 items from his life and career were put up for auction. This big event happened on October 6 to 7 at the Hyatt Century Plaza in Los Angeles. Fans and collectors got a chance to own pieces of his personal life and movie career. Many of these items had been locked away since Wayne passed in 1979. His house was sealed that day, and all his belongings were sent to storage. It was like opening a time capsule after more than 30 years. The auction included all kinds of things: costumes, props, awards, and even furniture from his home. Some items were especially unique. For example, his script showed how he worked on his movies. The script for The Horse Soldiers had folded pages to mark finished scenes. Other scripts, like Wednesday Morning, were kept neat and perfect, showing how organized he was. Then there were personal items, books, clothing, and his last driver's license. Even a collection of his colorful neckerchiefs, which he loved. To wear, sold for $1,755. Some items broke records. His green beret from the Green Berets, 1968, sold for $179,200, setting a record for a costume hat. People loved it because it symbolized one of his most famous movies. Another big seller was his cowboy hat, worn in movies like Big Jake and the Cowboys. It sold for $119,500. Wayne's Golden Globe for True. Grit also got a lot of attention and sold for $140,400. This award was special because it was tied to his only Oscar-winning role. Even small, everyday things sold for huge amounts. His last driver's license, something so ordinary, sold for $89,500. Pieces of clothing, like pants from the Alamo and a shirt worn in several movies, sold for thousands of dollars. These items let fans feel connected to him in a very real way. The auction didn't just show his movie career, it also revealed who he was as a person. One special item was a gold-plated Winchester rifle he gave to a friend, Bob Shelton. It sold for $113,315 and showed Wayne's generous side. His books gave a peek into what he liked to read, topics like history and military strategy. One unexpected item was his collection of seashells, which showed a softer side of him that people didn't often see. One of the most valuable pieces was a portrait of Wayne by artist John Decker. It sold for $71,700. Wayne had kept this painting in his home, which showed how much it meant to him. The auction also included family photos, letters, and even his home furniture. These things gave fans a closer look at his private life. They showed that beyond being a Hollywood star, John Wayne was also a father, a friend, and someone with deep connections to his family and the people he cared about. In 1971, John Wayne gave an interview to Playboy magazine that caused a lot of anger, and people are still talking about it today. He made some shocking statements that showed his controversial views. The most talked about comment was when he said, "I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility." He was 63 years old and very famous at the time, but this wasn't a one-time thing. He had said things like this before. In the same interview, he also talked about Native Americans, saying he didn't think it was wrong to take their land, calling it a matter of survival. He even criticized the movie Midnight Cowboy, calling it perverted and using a homophobic slur. Years later, in February 2019, this interview came back into focus when someone shared parts of it on Twitter. A screenwriter called Wayne a terrible person, and the tweet went viral. Suddenly, people were debating his legacy all over again. Some wanted him canceled, while others argued about whether his words should define how we remember him. His comments, even after so many years, sparked big conversations about the responsibility of famous people and how their words can hurt. This controversy didn't just stay on social media. It also brought attention to things named after him, like John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California. The airport got its name in 1979 after Wayne passed away, but by 2020, people were calling for it to be renamed. This happened during the nationwide protests after George Floyd's murder. On June 26, 2020, the local Democratic Party officially asked for the airport's name to change, saying Wayne's statements didn't match Orange County's values of diversity and inclusion. Orange County used to be a very conservative area, but it's changed a lot. It's become more diverse and politically competitive, with Democrats winning all its congressional seats in 2018. Some people felt keeping Wayne's name on the airport sent the wrong message to minority communities. Others, like Wayne's son, Ethan, defended him. Ethan said his father wasn't racist and accused people of unfairly attacking his legacy. As of 2025, the airport still has Wayne's name, but the debate continues, showing how hard it is to deal with the legacies of controversial figures. The controversy also affected the University of Southern California, USC, where Wayne had once studied. In July 2020, the university decided to remove an exhibit about him from its School of Cinematic Arts. This exhibit had been there since 2012, showing movie posters and personal items to honor him as one of their famous alumni. But students and alumni began protesting in late 2019, saying Wayne's racist comments made the exhibit unwelcoming, especially for students of color. After months of discussions, the university decided to take it down, saying they wanted to promote anti-racism and make the school more inclusive. Some people supported the decision, while others said it was wrong to erase history. All of this has sparked a bigger question. Can you separate someone's art from their personal beliefs? Many fans argue that Wayne's movies, like The Searchers and Rio Bravo, are too important to ignore. They think you can still enjoy his work while condemning his views. But critics say his racist comments and the stereotypes in his films make it impossible to separate the two. They also point out that his movies often glorified a version of American history that ignored the violence against Native Americans. So, what do you think? Should we remember John Wayne as a Hollywood legend or as a man whose words and actions don't hold up today? Hit subscribe if you want more untold stories like this, because trust me, there's a lot more where this came from. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update, because here's the thing. History isn't just about the past. It's about how we remember it. And if you made it this far, leave a comment. Tell me, should John Wayne's name stay on that airport? Because this debate, it's far from over.